Today in this video, we're going to be talking about something very important that I think a lot of people aren't really looking at, especially if they're going to be low spenders, free to play, is the fact that there are some really powerful 3 and 4 star characters that I believe a lot of you are sleeping on or haven't even honestly looked at, right? There are characters that you can increase the power of very quickly and easily without having to do a bunch of summons. Typically, while you're pulling for your guaranteed 6 star character or re-rolling, you will get a couple of these 3 and 4 stars. And I want to point out just a few because, again, you don't want to use too many resources on a bunch of characters, but these are characters that you can use to fit a lot of spots. So with that, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into this. Gonna give like quick overviews over some characters. If I need to do something more in depth, then I'll like kind of explain a little bit more. Gonna do 3 stars first and then 4 stars. So I'm using Pridwin to kind of help sort all these characters out. And I'm not gonna go over all of them. I just really want to kind of hone in on like some really good specific ones, not ones that are like, oh, well, you know, you got the sacrifice team, you got Dora. Like, no, like not everyone's really going to be doing that, right? These are just some good options to fill spots. Like, especially if you aren't wanting to do a lot of summons, you're saving, or you're really unsure of like if this 3 and 4 star is going to be worth it for you, right? So first one up is going to be Bet. We're going in alphabetical order. Bet's going to be a really good character to use for the fact with the Empower incantation. It's going to just give you random extra stars on your abilities. Then you also get a shield as well. Yes, this is an ult, but it's a pretty decent ability because you can just use your important part buff, which is going to lower the amount of damage taken for 1 unit. If you remember in my best teams video, I was showing Bet being really good with like a character like Eternity to where she's like taking less damage. That can really help out. Also, if you're trying to, for instance, make like a mono team of a specific element, but you need somebody to keep like your DPS alive because they're taking a lot of damage, you can use Bet for that. Or if just somebody's just dying just cause, you can use Bet to just really buff up that unit, and she's just really easy to use. You're really not going to be using a lot of abilities, but like if you can use the ult, you can use ult because you'll still have a survival character. She's just going to be a decent buffer. And then if you get the insight level, it'll give you an extra moxie for the ally with the lowest moxie. So if you're like constantly just like burning with like a DPS, or maybe even your healer has something to support with, Bet can just really support with like extra moxie gain. For those of you who are using Centurions, she might work a little for you as well. And then copies with her just helps increase the shield that you get. So you just keep that 1 unit alive. Again, just something really nice to use to fill the spot if you're needing to keep somebody alive in a stage that's a little too tough for you, right? Next up is Lourus. Lourus is a pretty good option if you don't get Balloon Party, you didn't go for a 6 star, and you're still waiting for DK because DK is going to be on the 8th day. You're using Lourus as a healer. Lourus' main ability is really going to be the Spring Fae, and her ult like lowers Moxie for targets, but you're not really focusing on that. And she can attack 2 enemies with her attack, but you're really wanting her to just heal. Not sure. I have to check her abilities. I'm pretty sure not both of them are called Spring Fae. But there is an insight that at not insight, but Portrait 4, she ups the healing. But again, you're just wanting to use her for AoE heals. And then if you want to get DK, if you get a Balloon Party, I would suggest like using them because Balloon Party is pretty good. And so is DK if you want a more aggressive healer. Also, Leilani is actually not a bad option. Leilani is really good at giving allies additional moxie. So if you're just really wanting to keep kind of spamming ults and using them as best you can, Leilani is an option there for you. Her abilities are mainly just kind of about like just doing damage. Her insight will give you additional moxie as well. Copies will help out with giving additional Moxie. The first one in the portrait, so you don't have to worry about going all the way up. It just gives her a little extra damage. But basically, portrait 1, insight 1, and then ult is what's helping with additional Moxie for your team. So if you have like an ult like dumping team, then she's gonna be a good option for you. Other than that, like, you know, there are other characters to replace, but it's like, especially if you're like rerolling for like Centurion, she'll be a really good option because, you know, Centurion just wants to spam ult, spam ult, spam ult. The last one on here that I personally feel is a good spot because I use her is Twin Sleep. And that's mainly because Twin Sleep give a pretty good debuff. Their pincer movement at 2 and 3 does a 25% mental defense debuff on the target for 2 rounds, which is really good. And then they give a crit defense debuff with also weakness, lowering their damage that they have. And that is an AoE one. It's a mass debuff. So it's really good, especially if you're trying to crit on your team and you have a mental damage team and you don't have Baby Blue. Really good option to use. And then copies with them don't really do too much until you get to like Portrait 4, to where it increases the crit defense by on the third one up to 50% all the way up. But mainly you're kind of wanting to, yeah, crit defense. Mainly you really want to use them to just debuff, try to keep them alive. Like the ult really don't have to worry about. Like it does stun an enemy with the ult. It's been helpful for me, but I'm mainly trying to just make sure I apply that debuff to help out because I haven't gotten Baby Blue yet on my CN team, which is mostly mental damage. All right, so that's pretty much the 3 stars that I'd say are like really worth investing, where there isn't like a easier for your character to kind of use. And if you're just wanting options, so Bet, Lourus, Leilani, and Twin Sleep. All right, so on to the 4 stars. Now, in the 4 stars, there are really good characters here. And it's just that some of them really stick out, right? So a lot of people probably ask about Apple. Apple is, yes, decent. Apple, yes, does some all right damage with the ult, giving a heal. And then on Insight 1, you can passively heal. And with copies, it just helps out with the healing as well. If you're like not fighting a boss and just doing regular stages, story stages, that's really good for you. On a boss, like it's going to be harder because he doesn't do any burst healing. But healing over time, healing every turn is really good. So if you're like, if you like Apple, you're doing it for the meme, or you just want to use Apple and you're not really want to use the source, you can use Apple. Apple does definitely more damage, has the AoE on his ult, heals, passively heals, so you're using less action points because you're just topping off everybody. So again, not a bad option to use. There's other healers, but if you're just wanting something just passive, not like a really big healer, you can use Apple, right? On to the next character. So, Eagle. Eagle is a great option if you do not have a, I guess I would say like a main DPS that you really want to rock with. Like, let's say you are the type who's not wanting to go for a 6-star character guaranteed because you're waiting for something in the future because you like have your own plan, which is totally viable. That's what she's going to be for. Eagle, you get copies on her. She gets 100% crit rate. Her ult gives her extra crit, and she converts extra crit rate into crit damage. So she is gonna be literally your low budget, like regulars, like team, to where you're just wanting to put crit. She can heal herself. She does extra reality damage if they well, she can heal into extra reality damage if they have like a lot of debuffs. She does mass attack. She has extra penetration. She gets extra crit damage on her insight. She does weakness, sense weakness, which is reality defense lowered and crit defense lowered. Like she just does a lot of damage, and especially with copies. So for a 4-star, really great option for you to rock with if you just don't want to go with those initial characters and you have a specific plan. Eagle is really good for you. Or if you're just like, I just need a plant DPS, you don't have anybody, Eagle is also good for that, and she's free. So I do recommend investing into her. Eric, I use Eric on my CN account whenever I'm using my Lilia, really great star support character, mainly because she helps out with crit. She lowers the crit resist rate and the crit defense, so it just makes it easier to crit, and you can crit harder, right? That's like the main abilities. Now you do have to put like um 2 points into it to get the crit defense lower, but it's really effective. And then on Insight 1, if an enemy dies, she gets extra damage dealt to allies for 2 rounds. That just helps you, like if you're fighting a boss next or clearing again more minions, she just kind of helps you just do more damage. On her copies, really doesn't do much for her. Like crit defense just helps her out. So you don't have to worry about copies for her. You're literally just using her to help. Like if you're really wanting to use Lilia, you got your Regulus, or you're wanting to just build her with Eagle to use a really low budget like 4-star team, then there you go, right? She helps out with that. Next character up, Oliver Fogg is a good option for a support. If you are waiting on basically if you're not really wanting to use a healer because you have a lot of sustain on your DPS, right? And you're wanting somebody who more or less just mitigates damage, that is what he's gonna be for. So on his ability, his buff, mass buff, gives all allies sturdiness, mental defense, and reality defense up 2 rounds. And then as you increase it, it just gives it a bigger buff. Also helps out with shield, can just give like honestly a lot of buffs if you're just wanting to be more tankier than healing. Like especially if you just have a pretty heal heavy team. If you're wanting even more sustain, right? You got Oliver Fogg, can be raising defense. You could use Apple for passive healing, and then you can put all of your action points into a DPS if you just want a really tanky team and not really have to worry about things. Because I know a lot of you are going to be playing auto, so like supports that do like passive things without having to really use abilities, like those are going to be really good characters. Because I know a lot of you are going to be auto players, so like teams are going to be different for sure if you're like auto versus not. And that's probably something I'll definitely talk about in another video. But lastly, 4-star character that is good. This is specifically if you're gonna be the type who's gonna do poison team. As you know, I'm gonna be doing poison and global, so this is a character that I'm gonna be going for. It's gonna be rabies. Rabies is a good character only if you get up some stars on him. Kind of the really to make him stronger because he's needing to be a main DPS. And you have to get Sotheby to like also help. So again, rabies is only there if you upgrade him. And so like just know that. But rabies will be your only poison DPS option other than Sotheby, unless you plan on wailing on Sotheby, then that's something else. And that's the only reason why I'm mentioning him. Right? Some other options that are like ones that I guess you could say are honorable mentions. Pavia, decent DPS, has sustain, but not really needed or necessary because there's just better characters, right? Just honestly way better characters. I'm trying to think. Oh, and 3-star, the Fool. He is a tank. He taunts, and he also has, whenever he is attacked after he uses his taunt ability, he'll do this dot over time. That's Genesis damage based off of his health, a percentage of his health. So really cool if you're wanting to get even more into a dot team. You have like a tank that deals with it. But if you're really going for a dot team, then you kind of have like Sotheby's first banner you could reroll for. So, you know, that's one thing. But if Sotheby's banner isn't there and you're wanting like a poison-ish tank, then you got the Fool, but he doesn't really work with poison that well. But guys, that's pretty much it. Just wanted to quickly kind of go over the 3 and 4 stars. Again, like I said, explain some of their kits. Be really helpful for you guys as you're just waiting to get the characters that you want. Or if you're needing different types, because you have different things like Limbo that you need different types for. So if you don't have all the characters in a world, look at your 3 and 4 stars and see who you can increase. And I'll do another video on some good 5 stars to think about other than like the OP ones that everyone already talks about. Because like I've looked at a lot of different kits and there are just better characters than the 6 stars. And I just want everybody to kind of know that in case you just are unsure, right? But guys, global is approaching soon. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel and you have the bell because I'll be going live when launch comes. I'll be going live when they have the live stream, uploading videos, and be streaming every day with this game, streaming my CN and global account. But obviously, we're going to be doing a little bit more focus on global. But I also want to keep up with my CN account. That way I can give you guys information that's in the future because CN is several months ahead. And so if I can give you as much information as I can, then I'll do that. Because my plan is to put a lot more time into CN. And that means like more like summons and stuff than global because like I just kind of know exactly what I want to do for global. But guys, you've been awesome. You've been amazing. Channel has been growing in subscribers. I've gotten so much more engagement. Y'all keep asking questions. Views are looking really nice on the channel. So yes, I'm going to be doing this long term. I'm loving the game. If you want to talk to me off stream, I do have a Discord. It's down in the description. If the link doesn't work, please let me know. But I made a whole category for R99. And so we can talk about everything there. If you have questions, you can share IDs. If you have CN stuff you want to talk about, we can talk about it there. Because I always have my phone on me. I have my Discord and we can chat anytime. But anyways, guys, been rambling long enough. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. You lucky gamers, have a good one. Lucky Lucks out.